Welcome back to 5 Minute Fantasy Football, presented to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and our friends over at Underdog. Download Underdog Fantasy, join millions, and play this weekend. Use promo code FFSGPN so they know we sent you. Every week, we're picking the higher on the Derrick Henry touchdown. That thing is like death and taxes. And then we're picking to have some fun on interceptions. Pick 3 or 4 quarterbacks that you think you're going to throw an interception. Pick the higher and play their pick 'em. We did 4 for 4 this week, $100. Let's talk about our trending players before we go into my favorite waiver wire pickups. Washington Commanders, you see on the right, Houston Texans were the defense of the week. They had the Cowboys. Washington gets Dallas this week. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's on bye, but he still is a trending up player. A lot of people are chasing the points. I don't expect to see an explosion. I actually have met someone that I would trade. But if you need a tight end and you need someone that's going to have some upside, absolutely. And he plays quarterback. You have 6 teams on bye this week, 6 teams on bye week 14. He's someone you're going to want to look at. Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith has been going off. He's the third top pickup. Zach Ertz, you see a trend here. Everyone needs a tight end. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. They get the Giants and Tommy DeVito. The Cutlets is back. Bo Nix, Roshan Johnson, Chase McLaughlin, Nick Westbrook-Ikine. I mean, he's only 7% rostered, and the dude has scored a touchdown in 5 straight weeks. Guys, it's finally time to show this man some respect. Nick Westbrook-Ikine, pick him up, put him in your lineups, and then, of course, he'll probably not score a touchdown because I said that, but we'll see. Jerry Jeudy, he had a huge week. He's been seeing a lot of targets with Jameis Winston. He's been looking a lot better, finally getting some action for Jerry Jeudy. Jason Sanders, Jake Bates. Again, if you don't play kickers, I'm sorry. This isn't for you. Matthew Stafford, he had a great week. He's finally getting everybody back. You know, the thing with the Rams, they're in the playoff hunt. They were like a play or two away from being out of the playoffs and selling everybody. Instead, now they're pushing for the playoffs. They're pushing for the division. They could win the division very easily. The Niners are their playoff lives are on the block right now. But they have the linemen coming back. You had 4 linemen go down the first 2 weeks. You had Puka and Kupp go down the first couple weeks. And it's just been tough. And a guy that I'm going to put on my next show, Kyron Williams, is someone I think you should buy. He's been seeing a lot of stacked boxes because of all the injuries. Bad offensive line, no Kupp. You have no Puka. Now you're getting all the guys healthy back. Matthew Stafford is slinging it. They're going to start lightening those boxes, and I think Kyron Williams goes off. Chris Boswell, kicker's just been scoring a lot of fantasy points. Javonte Williams, if you dropped him last week and started Audric Estime, you are very upset. Javonte Williams is not dead. He's very much alive, and he's someone that, 77% of people have on the roster, but 30% of people can go pick him up. Cam Akers, Pittsburgh Steelers. Devon Vele, he's a 26-year-old rookie, but he's been balling out. He's been playing really well. Shout out to Bo Nix. Tommy DeVito. Again, if you're desperate and there's 6 teams on a bye and you have 2 quarterbacks out, and especially in your 2 quarterback leagues, Tommy DeVito should be rostered in every single Superflex 2 quarterback league. He played well last year. Yes, he had, out of his 5 starts, he had 3 fantasy relevant games. One was QB7, one was QB12, and the others were QB19, 25, and 26. Not going to be the most consistent guy, but he's someone that he's got some rushing ability, and he's not afraid to sling it. He was a fun play last year, and he definitely won some people some weeks, particularly around the time people are getting into the playoffs. Adam Thielen and Xavier Worthy. Worthy was really busy during the Bills game. So everyone's dropping Dawson Knox. Everyone's dropping Tyler Bass. Bass has really struggled this year. And the winter's coming. I'm not really. I think if you have a kicker league, I'd start those other guys over Bass. Khalil Herbert, Chase Brown's, he's getting a ton of work. But if he were to go down, Khalil Herbert would just walk into a great situation. I'm going to go and stash Khalil Herbert if I have Chase Brown. Russell Wilson, people are dropping him. I'm not concerned. I'd pick him up in my 2 quarterback leagues. 1 quarterback league's probably not. Ricky Pearsall, people are expecting Pearsall to just pick up where IU came off. Juwan Jennings is a dog. Juwan Jennings is the number 1 receiver on the San Francisco 49ers. You heard me. He is the number 1 receiver on the 49ers. I got him on 7 out of my 12 teams. I've been picking this guy up everywhere. Made some trades for him in Dynasty. he could be a guy next year for them if they were to trade off Debo. Ricky Pearsall's good. He's still rookie. He's also missed a lot of time when he got shot and had all that going on. Juwan Jennings is the guy to get. Pearsall, if he's on the waiver wire, unless I'm in a really deep league, probably not that interested. New Orleans Saints, Deontay Johnson. Is it time to drop Deontay? Probably, yeah. Rashad Bateman's been playing really well, and Deontay's really the third or fourth on a run-heavy offense. Gesicki, we finally got, trust in him, and then he let us down. T. Higgins is back. That's the problem. I'm not picking him back up. Kirk Cousins, he's been awful. He's on bye this week. I can understand why you're dropping him. Aldrick Estime, yeah, like I said. And then Jake Ferguson. Cooper Rush cannot keep things going. I think they might start playing Trey Lance here soon. Tucker Kraft, Tank Bigsby, Daniel Jones, Demarcus Robinson, Joe Flacco, and Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason is someone I would absolutely pick up. I get it. It's tough out there. You got a lot of teams on bye, but if you have the opportunity to stash the handcuff, if McCaffrey were to miss the rest of the season, Mason would be an absolute league winner. 3 quarterbacks that you should consider picking up. Matthew Stafford, for all the reasons I laid out before. Everyone's getting healthy. This team is competing. The defense is actually getting a lot better. And I like the schedule for Matthew Stafford and the boys, but you got to love those weapons. He is slinging it, and he's got Puka and Cooper Kupp, 2 top 10 weekly receivers. I'm picking him up. Jameis Winston, everyone is afraid of the interceptions and the fumbles, and I get it. They're going to happen. But the first week we saw 3 interceptions. Last week the week after we saw three. We had 3 touchdowns, then 3 interceptions. Last week he seemed to put it together. He's still getting to know the offense, but he's throwing the ball down the field. He's very aggressive, and he has a good set of weapons. Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, and Nick Chubb coming back really did help that offense. And let's not forget about Jerome Ford. He can do some damage, create some big plays. And then Anthony Richardson. Let's give the man his flowers. He came out and he balled out, played really well, made some big-time throws that really aren't going to show up on the stat sheet, just the impact on some of these third down conversions and some of these plays that he made where he threw the ball, very good accuracy, showed a lot of poise in the pocket. I've been very hard on him, but I feel like this week was, a good show of growth. He was QB4 on the week. He still took some big hits and still, barreled his way into the end zone. But you do have to be a fan of what's going on here with him. As far as the running back, there really is not a lot of running backs to look at. But one that I'm going to look for is Roschon Johnson. DeAndre Swift, he's had a history of getting hurt. And you see them lightening the load on him a little bit in this new offense. Roschon Johnson was very busy in this new offense. And I think, that's someone that I'm going to go after. As far as the rest of the running backs, you might want to look towards handcuffing some of your guys. Trey Benson is someone that you've seen get more and more work. If James Conner were to go down, he would be a monster. Jerome Ford, Gus Edwards, Cam Akers, those guys I'm going to look at. Gus Edwards is getting more work. J.K. Dobbins has a history of not staying healthy. Whoever your number one running back is, I'm going to ensure that I'm going to have that backup. And if you can't find one of them available, look for the top running backs in the league and the guys that are in situations that, like, okay, if Najee Harris were to go down, Jaylen Warren would be a monster. If Breece Hall went down, Braylon Allen would be a monster. Ray Davis would be a monster. Those kind of guys that, like, and I'm not as worried about like an Amir Abdullah or something like that. I want guys on good offenses that are going to get the lion's share of the work. Demario Douglas. Drake May looks great. Drake May is definitely someone that is doing well in a bad situation, and I can't wait to see what he looks like if he hits T. Higgins or something like that next year. But Elijah Moore, we talked about it earlier. MVS, I know people didn't buy what was happening. And Nick Westbrook-Akine. Will Levis is slinging it. They're letting him throw the ball, and he's doing great. Jonnu Smith and Taysom Hill, both these guys absolutely balling out. If Will Dissly is available, those guys are absolute pickups. You have to get them on your roster. Tight ends are hard to find, especially with 6 teams on a bye, all the injuries and all the quarterback injuries that we're having to deal with. As far as defenses, Tampa Bay is the number one. You want to pick up Tampa Bay. They have the number one schedule for the playoffs, and you're going to pick them up. They get the Giants this week, but they play the Carolina Panthers and the Raiders, and then they have the Carolina Panthers in the championship game. So like they're definitely an ad. And then the Houston Texans, like I said, the Washington Commanders, they get the Dallas Cowboys this week. So they're one of the pickups. And then Washington Commanders, like I said, you're going to want to pick them up. And the Houston Texans, they get the Titans this week. So this has been 5 Minute Fantasy Football. As always, good luck this season.